we were lucky enough to find street parking, which I didn't think we'd be able to do. So we had stayed at the camper on our day of arrival when we got to Skidaway. So this was our first morning to drive in. Now I had looked at it on the map, but if you decide to stay at Skidaway Island State Park, there's one thing. It's a 20-minute drive from the park back into town. So each day you got to come over the waterway and make your way into town. So it takes up a little chunk of time, but I think it's worth it to be in a nice state park, but yet still be that proximate to downtown Savannah. So one of the first things we wanted to do was to check out Deanne's hotel. She was going to be staying at a hotel in downtown Savannah. So this is the Kimpton Bryce Hotel, otherwise known as the Bryce, and very, very good location. It's just a block or so away from the Savannah River, and it's also located in one of Savannah's historic districts. So really nice place, really good customer service. Highly recommend the place, and also it's pet friendly, so Molly got to come along as well. Now, one of the things that you have to see when you're in Savannah is River Street. And what this was the old area where the cotton business used to bring the cotton down here and put it on the boats and load it out. So when cotton was king, this area was the main area of commerce in town. Well, then after all that went away, this whole area just became dormant, and the warehouse, it was abandoned warehouse space, apparently all the way till the 70s. And then some enterprising businessmen came along and said, hey, let's revitalize this thing, put some shops in, put some restaurants in. Those are the original 200-year-old cobblestone streets. So it's just a neat little part of Savannah, and glad that they brought it back. It in some ways revitalized the city and really brought a lot of tourism to the city. So one of the things that we enjoy doing when we're in a place like this is just driving around and checking out the architecture. I'm from New Orleans. I grew up in New Orleans, and we've also visited Charleston, South Carolina, and this place, Savannah, seems kind of like a mashup between a little bit of Charleston and a little bit of New Orleans. It really did remind me of both places, and in times also it gives you a little bit of that beach vibe. Some of the houses along here seemed sort of look like that beach house type of house. And then another thing is the side porches, which you see a lot of that in Charleston, which you do see some of that in New Orleans as well. And then another thing that kind of ties the two cities together are these green spaces. Though both of the Charleston and New Orleans also share that with Savannah, with a really lot of nice downtown green spaces that it makes a difference. It really does, as far as when you mix those beautiful old trees with the moss hanging from them, and then you got the sort of southern colonial kind of architecture, and it's just it's a nice place. Sun finally came out, which is what it was forecast to do here today in the park. So we went into town this morning, went into Savannah, went into the downtown area, and then looks like tonight, this afternoon, I'll be able to get the dogs out. So the park, as I had mentioned before, it's about 20 minutes from downtown Savannah, and it is a world apart. Though you get out there on this island. Skidaway Island is part of what's called the Skidaway Narrows. It's a series of islands that are off the coast of Georgia, right there near Savannah. And so you're in this forest with these big live oak trees, but also you've got these areas with some marsh, and you've got the palmettos. So once again, it's that kind of a mashup of a forest type area with a coastal type environment. And the park itself is older, and if you have a really big rig, it's a narrow place to get in and out of, I will say that. Plenty of good walking trails. The sun finally came out one afternoon, which we were able to get out and explore the park really well. And all in all, I would definitely stay there again if I was going to be doing anything around the Savannah area. I would definitely recommend the place. Now, the site that we were staying in did not have full hookups, but we did find these sites on the left right here. They do have sites available with full hookups, so if you wanted to just get there and park it there for a while, you could, and really spend some time exploring the Savannah area. with Deanne and Kara, maybe Patsy and Pete, and have some lunch today. We are walking the streets of Savannah. We are on our way to go eat tonight. We're going to go to some seafood joint down here. We're fixing to go hook up with Kara and Deanne and possibly Patsy and Pete. We are fixing to go get hooked up with Deanne and try to have some lunch. So we are hanging out in Savannah tonight, and we are heading over to Paula Dean's restaurant to see what that's all about. Some kind of buffet deal. And then of course, when we're on vacation, especially in a place like Savannah, we like to try to find some good food. That's one of the things we had said we wanted to come here and do, was look for some good southern food. That's us scoring some pralines. We had to get that out of the way just to start off things. And some of the places we ate were, they were okay. Some were better than others. I'm not per se a big fan of the quote-unquote southern food myself. I like it okay, but Kelly and some of the others were really on a quest. And as I said, for the most part, most of the food we had was pretty good. I will say that. But then came our big night out at Paula Dean's place. So for our final meal out, we were going to go to the Lady and Sons, which is the name of the restaurant that she has there in downtown Savannah. She sometimes shows up there and such. And one of the things about it, though, it's a buffet. And so, we get there and the food's all out, and so we're sitting down and starting to get ready to get our food. And then all of a sudden some kids come in, and then all of a sudden some more kids come in, and then all of a sudden what we realize is 90 kids were getting seated at Paula Dean's, 90, to all enjoy the buffet right while we were. And so it was an interesting meal. And then at the end here, we're walking away, and Kara says something to Kelly about how great it was, and Kelly's answer, I don't know what she said, but we all got a kick out of it. Watch.
That was super fantastic. Wasn't it good?
So we made it to Dreher Island State Park, and we are out on this island. So we have had a chance to get the dogs out for a walk. Got the camper all set up, and this place is it really is beautiful. I know it's just really the weather's nice today, but in addition to the weather being nice, this is just truly really a pretty setting. We're on an island, and there are also islands, smaller islands around here, but this is Dreher Island that we're standing on. So we enjoyed our time there in Savannah, but it was time to head on back, and this time it wasn't spring break week, and so I was able to look at the map, and I picked this park, Dreher Island State Park, because it was just pretty much halfway between Savannah and back home to Hendersonville, and so I had no trouble getting a reservation this time. I wasn't trying to do some kind of an island theme. It just turned up on the map, and it looked like a decent place to stay. So it's actually a series of 3 small islands. The park consists of 3 separate islands. So you drive in, and then you drive across a couple of small bridges to get out to the place where the actual campground loop was that we were staying in. This lake is known. They have a lot of big fishing tournaments here at this park. This is a real big angler's lake, and so we were able to get a pull-through site right down at the end of the last island, and that turned out to be a great spot. We were on an elevated position, and we're kind of able to look out over the other campsites that were actually on the lake. So you can come out here and rent one of these spots for the weekend and get you some lakefront property here in South Carolina. It seems like with each park we stay in, each one gets more beautiful than the next one. This place, I know one of the things, a little bit of it had to do with the weather turning good for us, because it had been kind of cloudy and rainy on and off in Savannah, and then all of a sudden we got to this place and the weather was just perfect. But it really is a pretty park, and being down on the end of that one island, it just seems very remote, and we saw a ton of birding activity and squirrels. The birds were just out in full force. And so I would highly recommend staying at this park if you're in the area needing a place to park your RV. And it had pretty easy egress and ingress. It was easy getting in and out of there. And if you're looking for a place to go out to eat in the area by the park, there was actually turned out to be a good restaurant, a place called The Frayed Knot. And Kelly and I went over there and had us a pretty decent meal on our last night there at the park. Okay, the Google Maps rating system worked again. This place was actually pretty good. It really was. So we enjoyed we had one full day there at Dreher to walk the trails and check the park out, and then it was time to head back to Hendersonville and get the campers stored away, and we will see you guys the next time we're out on the road.